Welcome to the championship recap edition of the UFL Homer Hour with Nick and Rob. We've got a lot to talk about today. The Defenders take down the Panthers. Justice for Tiamu. We'll talk about it here on the UFL Homer Hour. Hey, what's up, Nick?
Not a lot, Rob. We got the end is here, even for us football junkies that like to watch just American football. I know the CFL is still going on, but American football is coming to an end.
There is also an indoor football league.
Classic American football is kind of my standard there, but hey, no shame in you guys that are big fans of indoor football league, though. So if you guys are a big fan of that, hats off to you. I'm off to watching the Rangers try to figure out how to win the division right now until the beginning of the football season. But it has ended, Rob. It has ended.
It is. And at least you got the Rangers to watch. My Red Sox just kneecapped their team. So
it's the Luka trade for baseball, right? That's what I keep hearing. Same thing. Yeah.
Not quite as devastating, but pretty close.
It's just crazy. Yeah, I saw that. And we might talk about that in our future podcast, which we'll be discussing that towards the end of the show for sure. Yeah. But we are the UFL Homer Hour, and this is about the UFL Championship. And what a big game it was. We've got the results right here where the DC Defenders, and I got this from the DC Defenders page. I'm even giving them some credit. That's why they have that little logo here, because they earned it. They won the UFL Championship 2025, and they won with a pretty big margin, too. I don't even think it was that close.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, 58-34, and Tiamu was on his revenge match. Rob, what'd you think of the game? Was it at least entertaining, though? Can we give it that?
I was entertained, completely entertained. And, I mean, we'll talk through the game, but it was nice chatting with Tyler, having him on and going through, and we got to see a quirk of the UFL actually matter for the first time all season with the when you're trailing or tied in the fourth quarter, being able to use the 4th and 12 instead of an onside kick, essentially what I was calling the make it, take it rule. And they made it, and they took it twice in a row. It only failed the third straight time. So it kept us entertained. Well, now, football purist poo-poo all over that? Probably. But I liked it. I thought it was great. Do I want to see it in the NFL? I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I think the percentages are a little too high in the NFL for 4th and 12. I think they can get those first downs at a little bit of a better clip than the UFL over there. Although the offenses towards the end of the year, I mean, we didn't have a team score over 40 points until the Stallions did it against the Showboats. And 3 weeks in a row, people were scoring over 40. So the offense did come alive, and the 4th and 12 did become a huge factor for that game. I mean, it was entertaining. I liked it. I don't know about 4th and 12. I think that percentage is way too high for it to ever be done in the NFL like that. But give me 4th and 15, 4th and 20, something like that. It's better than an onside kick.
Yeah. Especially with the way the rules have changed for kicking the last couple of years, it's made the onside kick useless. So doing something like this would be good. I did not expect them to hit that twice in a row. And honestly, even the third time, the receiver could have got it. It was almost 3 straight conversions. Didn't matter. It wasn't going to change the outcome of the game.
No, because they would have had to do it, another 2 times for it to even make a difference. I mean,
with the Defenders not scoring at all.
I think we had better chance of winning the lottery than for them to pull it off. But when you see it done twice in a row, you start questioning. You start going, I think it can happen. Yeah. But the game itself, the man, Tiamu, came in there, started attacking, started playing well, had a little pep talk right before the game. And I don't know if you can see these stats over here, Rob. I'd have to enlarge it on my screen just to get it. But
21 for
Teamu,
28, 300, and that's not a zero. That's 390 yards passing with 4 touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing, and a 75% percentage completion. And whatever RTG is, it's 156.3.
It was an offensive clinic for sure. And that doesn't even account for the fact that they ran for 190 yards against one of the best defenses we thought the UFL had to offer. What happened to the Panthers?
There were a couple secondary injuries. I forget exactly who, but I did see them popping up. But that shouldn't have affected the run game that much. But something happened where all of a sudden they couldn't stop the run game. And the defenders weren't even really hiding it. It didn't seem like they were overly scheming or anything. I mean, they did have the assistant coach of the year, Kais, leading the way, but and making those play calls. But oh my, it felt like Teamu like they could just direct snap to a running back for like probably the whole third quarter and still dominated the game.
Yeah,
not even have Teamu on the field.
I mean, Teamu didn't even really have to play, although he did stay off the field for a while because of those 4th and 12 conversions. Yeah. And I mean, if I'm the Michigan Panthers, which I thought their bread and butter was their defense, and then Bryce Perkins on offense just kind of helps them out, and they're able to win games with him. He ended up having a good game too, though. I mean, he throws for 338 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 1 interception. So he was going tit for tat with them, but he could not. I mean, if they keep scoring a touchdown every time they get the ball, you're asking a lot for your Michigan Panthers offense, and that's not really their game. They're not a shootout team like this. So it definitely made them pay.
And you're someone that's quick glance at the stats. You're like, they gassed him with running. Their leading rusher only had 63 yards. He had 63 yards on 10 attempts. That's 6.3 for you that can't do the division. But then their second leading rusher had 53 on 6. And then Deion Jackson, who's been their man all year, he had 11 for 46 and 2 touchdowns. And then Teamu also had 28 yards rushing. So it didn't matter who had the ball. They all just ran it down their throats and they took turns.
Yeah, it was really bad there. And it's not like the Panthers didn't even have a good run game. They got 5.8 a carry. They got 104 yards. It's not like, it's something to brag about over there, but geez, it's not like Perkins didn't have help.
The younger Williams defense, though, did one key thing. Perkins was unable to use his legs.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
Unable to use his legs. He was 4 for 8 in rushing totals. Yeah,
and they played really, really Blake Williams style football in the beginning of that thing. They wanted to make Bryce Perkins' life a living hell in the beginning of that game. So I think most of those stats, I don't really have the exact numbers, but I would imagine Bryce Perkins' big yardage came at the end of the game with the trash points in the 4th and 12s that were converted.
It really did. That pick meant a lot. But it was crazy because at the start of that game, that first quarter, it looked like the Panthers were going to run away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like it was that special teams fumble and a switch flipped. It's like the Panthers got a flesh wound, and that flesh wound just took them out. That was it. Yeah. They didn't. It was a completely different team after that fumble. And the defenders had 1st and goal, and obviously they scored, but it still wasn't a blowout. Like they were barely up, but all of a sudden, like, the Panthers couldn't function
anymore. Yeah, they couldn't function for, I think, like really towards just the second quarter and then the beginning of the third quarter, and then they started clicking again. But again, you're just asking way, way too much for your team to keep up with when the DC defenders were able to do whatever the heck they wanted. Genuinely, I'm really trying to think of it. I could be wrong, but I don't remember a punt in the game for the DC defenders. Am I correct? No. I don't think there was one.
I don't think so. They had the turnover at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Yeah, I believe they had a turnover, but they did not have a punt for the entire game. I know.
Yeah.
Probably should have looked that up before we started. I'm just playing it off memory,
I mean,
though.
they
I'm
had
just going,
58 points, so most of them all of them were scored by the offense. So I don't think they had a punt. There were no
never
pick
had to.
sixes or fumble returns for touchdowns. So
It was crazy. They were able to get exactly what they wanted on that, and the Panthers just never could stop it. And you're thinking, okay, you're allowing big plays, so you must be stopping them up front. Not the case. They ran it too. I mean, there was nothing the Panthers could do. And I think a lot of credit goes to this offensive line who had a great start to the beginning of the year when they went against the Stallions, who has a good defensive front, and they ran it down their throat in the beginning of the year. So I think they had an extra little motivation. I think that team just, you could just tell sometimes it's as clear as that. Maybe
just
the offensive line just
a,
wanted it more.
a little motivation. As a whole, they were united. The UFL pissed them off. Someone that got 60-something% of the snaps that his team had throughout the entire season won the first team UFL offensive player in the year. That one I kind of see. He was exciting with the ball. And MVP. All three when Tiamu just lit it up all season, put it in tight windows, carried the defenders on his back when he had to, or was potent enough that he was going to allow that his ability to do what he can do was going to allow Deion Jackson to do what he needed to do. They had a ball hawk defense. Like, to a man, everyone on that team was furious at the UFL. The UFL, you could argue, cost the Panthers a chance to win because the defenders were not losing for Tiamu. Even at halftime, Shannon Harris threw shade. He did it subtly. He did it impressively. But when they made the halftime interview, the halftime reporter's talking to him on the sideline, and she goes, "What are you going to do to keep it up?" Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, great first half, but this game's not over. They have the offensive player of the year, all UFL first team, and MVP on theirs," and he counted them out. So we can't lay down on that. They've got that on their side. And then he kind of smirked and walked off camera. That was shade.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty smart of Shannon Harris to do that at halftime, too. What a brilliant way to put it. He's pretty good at trash talking. But
I would have loved to hear the speeches throughout the week from Shannon Harris, from Blake Williams. His dad can give some damn good speeches. I think he can figure it out. From the players themselves, I guarantee you, Tiamu didn't have to say a thing all week.
No.
They lifted him up, and they're like, "You got us all season. We got you now." And ultimately, in the long run, he'd rather have the title over the MVP. If he's got to pick one or the other, because being an MVP in this league isn't going to get you a better shot at getting an NFL job. I mean, if I'm an NFL scout and I watch the tape of the championship game, I'm calling Tiamu's agent. I'm not calling Perkins. I had to call one. If I had to pick one or the other, I'm calling Tiamu's agent. They both should get phone calls.
Absolutely. They're both really, really good quarterbacks. And I don't think you even need the UFL access during the practices to find out how much of a motivation it was. We did get the access during the game, throughout it on the sidelines, and they would not stop mentioning Tiamu MVP, or yeah, you're the real MVP, and weird things like that all across the sideline over there, which UFL did a really good job at showing that on the production. And you could definitely hear it throughout the game that was a big deal to them, and they used it. It was great motivation too, and it really worked for them. I think these are two evenly matched teams. They should have put on much better fight, but it looked like, I rarely say this, it just looked like the DC Defenders just outright wanted it more in the trenches for sure. And that's where the game's played.
And to be honest, like, you could see just the body language, the effort. The Panthers defense, I think, gave up at halftime. They went through the motions in the second half. There was no crazy switches. They weren't ball hawking. They weren't sending everybody to try. They just went through the motions.
Come on.
There was
that
wasn't over.
Yeah, Yeah, and especially when, and I disagree with the call. We were complaining about that on the live feed, but I think they were down by 19. But they punt the ball 4th and 4, which we're arguing just go for it. I don't see why not. And that's it, defense. This is it. This is your moment. We need that 3 and out. You said it on the broadcast. You got to have the 3 and out. And the first thing the DC defenders did, I believe it was Jackson. It could have been one of the other ones. Bam, down 10 yards in order to get a first down. Your ego is shot at that point.
Yeah.
And when that happens.
If it wasn't officially over then, that did it right then and there. And I don't know what Nolan's saying. Like, I defended it on the broadcast. I was like, well, he's thinking if he can flip the field, which they did. They started at the 10 and then get a 3 and out. And then they have a quick short field. And then but they didn't have enough time for that.
Well, forget the amount of time. It's if the opposing team is scoring a touchdown, no matter if they're at their own 10 or at your 10, it doesn't make a difference. So you've got to start planning like that to just keep your offense on the field. At the very least, to keep the defense less tired too, because they were definitely gassed by the end of the game. I mean, they just could do whatever they want against them. So big. I don't know what happened. That one shocked me. I thought the Michigan Panthers actually stacked up well against them. I thought they would play a lot better. But, boy, did they let me down. For the worst game of the season, you chose this one to lose at the UFL Championship. They gave no indications that this could happen with them.
They had been the most consistent team all season. When the defenders lost, they lost. Like, they were outclassed in their losses, which happens. It's fine. They were an upstart team. But the Panthers were right there, just steadily beating down the door the whole season, and then that's it.
And there it goes.
It's the offseason.
It is the offseason. Oh, go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and as of today, UFL players are eligible to sign and talk with NFL teams. But we were talking about this a little bit on the broadcast. We were talking about it early in the year with the fact they keep going up against the playoffs for these other big sports. You got to have the season earlier because these players missed their chance at all the OTAs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like the XFL did it in February right after the Super Bowl. And good news is it looks like they are talking about moving it up. I would say at least early March just to give them a chance to get at it. But they're in a rock and a hard place for sure. They definitely campaigned with the UFL. They started steering away from what the XFL was doing, which the XFL was saying, we're going to be partners with the NFL. We're going to try to help be a feeder team to the NFL. And they even had the 54th man jersey at the XFL too, indicating that you could be that guy. But the UFL doesn't seem to campaign for that. They just want their own league, it looks like.
The UFL doesn't seem to campaign for anything right now. I don't know what's going on. Their marketing all year sucked. It did. We complained about it constantly. They seem to – Dwayne Johnson owns the league. He didn't even mention anything about the playoffs. Didn't even mention – all he's got to do is – he doesn't need to go crazy. Just do a 10-second story on Instagram, and we're going to get like 3 million extra eyeballs. Will at least click over for a second.
For sure.
That makes him money. I know he's already stupid rich, but that makes him more money.
Well, and also it's an investment that he's probably lost a lot of money in already that you just need to get that investment back. Forget how much money you make. It's just, I mean, that's just business being business. You would want that. The other thing, though, with no, he's getting heavy back into the WWE too. So maybe his focus is
he's on the board. Yeah.
That could be one factor that goes into it. But I think the good news is the most important thing, and this is kind of where I wanted to lead to anyway. Let's look at the positives for the league right now. You know,
there's a lot.
The product is really good. It's really good. It's entertaining football. The quarterback play used to be one of the biggest problems. They were saying that, we don't have enough quarterbacks in this league. Now we got plenty. Yeah.
Just give them to Skip Holtz for a week. They're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Skip Holtz has 3 just in his back pocket over there. And then we got some new quarterbacks out there. Like McClendon just stepped up for the Roughnecks, and I think he's going to be an excellent start for them. Wynn showed some things for the Showboats, but then had a little struggle at the end of the year. But we'll see. We'll see if
that was the problem.
Yeah, no one can really. Cook has played for the Showboats, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, I think. And he couldn't do anything with them last year. So it's a tough team to play for sure. And place where quarterbacks seem to go to die.
Speaking about quarterbacks going to die, if I'm the New York Giants or if I'm the Cleveland Browns, at the very least, why am I not bringing Skip Holtz in the next few weeks or month to consult? If not, throwing a ton of money to be quarterbacks coach and assistant head coach or something, some extra title to make him move over. But they need to make sure their quarterbacks hit. This guy just keeps churning out gold. He can develop quarterbacks. Why isn't he in? And then, do we actually see Shannon Harris have a second season in DC, or is there going to be maybe a NFL team might bring him in to be an assistant, but to me, he screams college head coach.
Mm-hmm. He's got that motivation aspect to it too.
Is there going to be? I mean, I don't think a Power 5 program is going to come in and swoop them up, but is there going to be a mid-major program that says, hey, you can clearly motivate players, you can talk to players, you can develop players. We can give you a better job than Middle Tennessee State. Come on over.
I think coaching in the UFL, and this might be a controversial take, but I think coaching in the UFL, maybe you don't have as much pressure. I will say that because you don't have as much media and fans reacting to it too much. But one thing that I would look for in the UFL coach is when you're talking about a professional football league, whether it's the NFL, indoor football league, or whatever it may be, CFL, you're talking about a talent pool that is just here and here across the league. You know what I mean? Like your best are like this, and your worst is right there, and they're really close together. So the big advantage of having great coaches, this is why I've always liked Fred Kais. This is why I like Anthony Becht. Skip Holtz is a really good coach too, and Shannon Harris as well. Is if you've got the coaching scheme, the right motivation, the great strategy, the way to keep a team, in it to get that extra edge to get a win. I think it's in a weird way harder to do it in the UFL than if you can recruit really well, which is hard, especially with NIL deals in college football. Yep. But you can accumulate more talent and beat up on smaller teams. You can't do that here in the UFL. You have to have that extra edge. And so it's something to look at, I think.
And especially Shannon Harris and Anthony Becht, especially those two, their personalities they're huge. If I'm the UFL, I'm making sure, because I know the St. Louis fans are pissy. Grow up, St. Louis fans. Love you. Grow up. Keep Anthony Becht. Don't be idiotic. If I'm the UFL and I actually want to market stuff, I'm talking to Shannon Harris. I'm talking to Anthony Becht. I'm talking to Skip Holtz. He doesn't have a big personality the way those guys do. And I'm saying, look at the success of, obviously, but look at the success of the quarterback show on Netflix. Look at the success of the wide receivers thing. All the NFL shows. Develop a show around those three guys. Mm-hmm. Do it hard knock style and push it.
Yeah.
You don't even need to have a media deal in this day and age. Push it, use ad dollars, push it on the UFL website, or, I don't know, air it on Fox, FS1, ESPN Plus. We've shown we will eat up all that content. People will eat it up. Make those three guys the center of your league. You kind of wanted that with Wade Phillips and Bob Stoops. It didn't really happen. And I'm assuming Mike Nolan was the other guy. That's not happening. Follow those guys. Push that. Market that. Make them the centerpiece of your league. because there's a good chance Tiamo and Perkins are on a roster somewhere else next year, and go with that.
Yeah, I think that would be a wonderful thing for them to do. I mean, you have smaller junior colleges do Last Chance U, which is a big show that a lot of people watch. So I don't see why the UFL couldn't pull something like that off. Something like in season game. I mean, they might already have something like that where you can like tap in, but like it's just a Netflix show or something like that that would get people in. It's very effective. It's a great tool, and it seems to work for Formula One, for golf, for a lot of different reasons.
Dude, Netflix had one on polo, horses and stick things. I watched all 4 episodes.
It was good. Was it good?
It was
A lot of drama.
Yeah, it was the same sort of deal as not a ton of drama, but enough. But it was the same sort of deal as Hard Knocks, the same sort of deal as the as Full Swing, the golf one, and as the Formula One. Is it Drive to Survive, whatever it's called? Like,
I know so many people into Formula One because of that. Had no interest until Formula
my
One
youngest
came out.
brother's like big time into Formula One now. Like anytime guys, Formula One's on, like he's on his phone, and if we're not doing anything, he's throwing it up on the TV. Like that stuff works. You can build marketing campaigns around it. Like you can get that going, and if you don't want to start the season right away, okay, have that air right after the Super Bowl, your first episode.
Mm-hmm. That would be a good idea. Yeah.
Do 2 or 3 episodes leading into the season, and then have it finish up, go through the season. Because they've shown they're fine with. They are. I'm stumbling on my words, but they're totally fine with all access. I mean, we listen to the play calls as they happen
through the Nextel device.
Oh God, they gotta fix that. Put it all on one system, guys. You can afford it.
Yeah, I think and I'm glad you mentioned afford it, because I think that's actually one of their biggest concerns right now. XFL was a high risk. Hopefully, we get the reward strategy in marketing. Like they spent a lot of money. They saved up a lot of money. I mean, they knew about this when the XFL first came out in 2020. Or even 2023, like during COVID, they just waited for the investors to pile on as much cash as possible to then go out and just go crazy on their marketing. But the USFL, who also took over this league through Redbird, Fox, essentially taking it over, they took a different approach. They were not going to spend that much, not going to spend that much, not going to spend that much. And hopefully people will start showing up. I think it ended up working out okay. They ended up building a lot of big talent pools and things like that. So the USFL was generally a success. But when it comes to marketing and getting fans out there, there was no better one than the XFL. There's got to be a point where they got to go, are you serious about this league moving forward? Or you just want to keep playing it safe? And I just don't think this is a play it safe kind of thing. You got to take it another notch. You got your base now.
Yeah.
Let's take it another notch. Let's go get more.
I would still be kind of surprised if they do expand. I'd like to see it, of course. Add 2 teams, and then we talked about it in previous podcast episodes, and you can do 2 or 3 hubs and get into the markets. But it wouldn't surprise me if they run it back with 10 teams again next year. But I don't think you're going to see a team in Memphis. They're going to be somewhere else. And I don't know if you're going to see a team in Birmingham. And if you see one in Michigan, it shouldn't be playing in Ford Field.
Well, I think the Michigan fan base is way too big. You can't mess with that. Plus, they went to the championship game. They just got their quarterback. I think you're right. It's just
Ford Field.
It just makes it look bad.
Find a smaller field to play at. And then I saw this a lot. I didn't realize this, but I guess the USF, because I wasn't really into the league until you brought me into it. The USFL used to do their championship game at Canton before they merged. And it would fill up.
Yeah, and it's a smaller stadium.
Smaller stadium, fill it up. If you don't want to go to Vegas, go to Canton. Make it all about the history of football.
I'm going to defend them just a little bit because, one, St. Louis Battlehawks, if they make the championship, it's going to fill up. But the other thing is if you're going to do a neutral site, you want to keep it in the middle of the country. Well, middle of those markets too. And St. Louis is just perfect for that because everything's in striking distance over there. It's a short flight away to get to them.
But I know they claimed 14,000 fans. I don't think there was 3,000 in the stands.
It looked really bad.
Don't. They were clearly purposely not showing the crowd after a while.
Yeah.
And the UFL they went 0 for 3 on their weird half-hearted marketing pushes to make stars. The first one was Luis Perez with the book. Oh my goodness, did they hit us over the head with that book and the King of Spring early in the season. That petered off when the losses piled up. Mostly not Perez's fault. He had a good year. Right. But if your star's not going to be in the playoffs, it's not going to be in the playoffs. Then they're like, okay, cool. The Battlehawks they're going to be 8-2. They're knocking out of the park. We're going to change up the rules. Oh, no matter what, we have games in St. Louis the next 2 weeks.
And that was one of the worst. That was the outright worst.
That was the dumbest thing.
You did not have backup plans. You need to have backup plans for games like that because that was just unfair to certain markets that never got a chance. And you killed 2 weeks of the season, 2 weeks that we could have been much more invested in.
There would have been something on the line with home field, especially that last week when what two teams played each other in that last week, Nick?
I would assume the Michigan Panthers and the DC Defenders.
Yeah.
But they didn't try.
Yeah, and the other side of things, who was St. Louis playing there last week? Like, it was all on the line.
Yeah.
If it mattered. But then it didn't matter. And then both home teams lost. I say home teams because they were at home, but they weren't supposed to be the home teams. And the Battlehawks fans, we won 8-2. Those weren't real games those last 2 weeks. Those don't count. Love the diehard Battlehawks fans. That doesn't count. It could have been. They may have won them straight up. And also your team may have been much better prepared for the playoff game if they played games that mattered leading into it.
I think Ace from the Roughnecks brought up a good point that I really like. Since they beat them both, aren't the Roughnecks? They should have been the de facto champion, right? Love that.
They claim a share. They claim a share. I mean, I think unless something weird happens, I think the Roughnecks stand a very good chance to make the leap the Defenders did this year. I don't know if all the way to the title, but I think they will be competing for the playoffs all the way through.
Yeah, they should have a big year next year. I think so. Teams that you think are going to surprise us next year, I guess you already mentioned the Roughnecks. Do you have any other teams that are going to jump into the playoff fold?
I think the Roughnecks can get there. The Renegades, depending on what they do with their coach and quarterback situation, the structure's there. The bones are there. The Renegades could get back in. Honestly, I see St. Louis taking a big step back. Yeah, I think they'll take
with what? Manny Wilkins coming back? Because Manny Wilkins isn't going in the NFL. I don't think. I think he's going to make it back. You can't.
No,
unless Hakeem Butler and Sailors leave.
I'm assuming Butler and Sailors will have NFL contracts.
They should have last year, though.
They should have, but now they're really showing it. And geez, I mean, wide receiver's hard, but if I'm the Cowboys, I should have already signed the Sailors to a deal to come to camp.
Yeah, I mean, he's exciting. He's a really good. I would probably be the only Cowboy fan going, yes, we got Sailors, and they would have no clue who that is.
Yeah, and also just like law of averages, the Battlehawks been doing so good. The odds of them doing it again for a third straight year are low. And yes, I did say keep Anthony Beck. Don't be stupid. I still mean that. I think they have the biggest chance of progression along with the Birmingham Stallions. I think the Stallions outright miss the playoffs. I don't think the Battlehawks will. I think the Battlehawks will make the playoffs, but I think they're going to have a 6-4 record.
I would find it shocking if the Birmingham Stallions don't do well. They just have a good coach. Now they got motivation on their side because they had such a bad outing in the playoffs. In their quarterback carousel, I don't care how good they are. That's tough. That's hard to do all year long. You don't know who your quarterback's going to be, and it's going to come back to get you, and it did for them this last USFL championship. So I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they got a great coach and a lot of quarterbacks too. Should
And
help out.
the one thing I will not be declaring is that the Brahmas will make the playoffs. Oh my goodness, they are so drama filled and so dysfunctional. I think they'll be lucky if they win 2 games next year. No clue who the coach is going to be. They'll probably bring Party back, but based on all the behind the scene stuff we heard, they probably shouldn't.
No, I don't think Party's your guy. It was he's a good interim coach for a week, just jump in there, get that lights on fire. Ready. But yeah, that team didn't respond well to him. I mean, I think showboats aside, I just think that was the worst team by the end of the year. The Brahmas, they were tough. They were getting blown out almost every game.
The showboats were trying. The Brahmas weren't.
Yeah. Now that's the embarrassing part. The showboats were trying, and they were still losing pretty big too. But overall, but the Brahmas have a lot of talent. They should still have a good defense, but I don't know. I don't know if if they can improve. I mean, sometimes it's just a coach that could just make a big difference, and if they get the right coach, they might be able to do it. I also think they have a quarterback problem. I'm not the biggest. God, I forgot his name. That's how bad it was. But number 12.
Yep.
Brahms. Yeah.
Kellermond.
Yeah, Kellermond. I'm not big on that, and I think they got to figure out their new quarterback. Maybe go get Cookus or something to change it up, because Kellermond, I see what people see in him, but geez, he just needs to calm down. He needs to drink a beer before he plays a game. I think that's his strategy. Just a little relaxation, just to chill out, because I think he panics in the pocket a little too much.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it's tough for us now to really say, because we don't know how many teams are going to be in the league. We don't know what teams are going to be where. It's too early to predict, but I think that the Roughnecks showed that they have the chance to make that next step. I love the Defenders just because of how good the Stallions and the Battlehawks have been. Regression's not a bad pick for them. And then, the Brahmas, wow, they suck. So, but yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. Oh, go ahead.
Finish your thought.
Well, my last little thought if they do an expansion, get the Roughnecks over to the Brahmas and Renegades division and get that rivalry going. It's so much better. Dallas and Houston, great rivalry, goes back for millennia. It feels like, since the city's been around. It's a deep part of our Texas culture over here to make fun of each other, and I think it's kind of a shame that they took us out, because it's a lot of fun. It's a great rivalry. So bring that back, please. I want to play them twice, and I want one over in Arlington and one over at the Roughnecks every year. I think it'd be fun.
Oh, I agree for sure. Well, Nick, it was a fantastic UFL season, but we got more to talk about. We got more podcasts coming. What are we doing next? I mean, we'll as UFL news pops up in our podcasts, we'll sprinkle it in, but we expect that to mostly go into hibernation. Hopefully, we'll be excitedly telling you about Sailors and Tiamu and others, Perkins getting NFL deals and trying to make it work at camp. But beyond that, what's our focus going to be?
So our big announcement is we've got a couple things going on, and we did announce this during the live stream, but we are going to be paying attention. We're still working on the name. I was thinking NFL leased or something like that. I haven't decided yet. But Rob is a huge New England Patriot fan, and I am a big Dallas Cowboy fan. And just so happens we are in the respected division, and both of them are the East division of those conferences, the AFL East and the NFC East. So as a result, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing on those two divisions, because we can keep up with 8 teams. It's hard to keep up with all 32 all the time. And we're going to watch those games and break down and try to do an analysis of that, a little deeper analysis in that regard. Plus, Rob, the fun thing that our friend Patrick came up with is we're going to be drawing a random team from a hat. And our team, as a show, not as like personal, but as a show, we are going to be dedicated fans of said team.
Mm-hmm. And are we going to, as far as parameters for how we're going to pick it, should we say they can't be in an East division because we're already covering that? Should we say they should be a team that didn't make the playoffs or did make the playoffs? Do we want a bottom feeder? Do we want a contender? Do we want something totally random?
I say get them out of the East divisions because, God forbid, I will never cheer for the Philadelphia Eagles or the Washington Commanders or, the Giants. And I'm sure you're the same way with the Bills, Dolphins, and the Jets.
Well, yes, except for if the Pats aren't contending, the Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. My goodness. If they've made the Super Bowl and they didn't, step on the Pats' throats to make it happen, I'm going to root for them to get one. They deserve one.
They're good fans over there too, and I would love to draw them, but I say let's just keep the rivals out of it just for my sake because I just don't know if I drew one of them, I would definitely be lying throughout the show, but we'll definitely draw any team outside of that though. I don't care whether they're a bottom feeder, contender, whoever it may be. We're just gonna have fun with it and keep live analysis for that team out there.
Sounds good. Sure. The one thing I want to throw in is I think we should throw them all on like a wheel and do it on our next podcast.
Okay.
But I think, and it might not end up mattering at all, but I think we should each get one veto. Like, for example, if the wheel spun and it landed on the Chiefs, I would probably veto that. And if the wheel spun and it landed on, I don't know, who do the Cowboys hate outside of the division? The Arizona Cardinals. They used to have a big rivalry back in the day. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hate them, but I wouldn't veto it. I'd just tag
maybe there's a team you'd want to veto. I don't know.
I even have like this weird rooting interest for the 49ers. It's really weird, but I hate the team, but the people on the team I love. I love Kyle Shanahan. I like Brock Purdy. Maybe I'd veto the Packers. Yeah, I hate the Packers. I hate Jordan Love and that team. And hate, respect. It's still respect. I just hate. It's okay. The Eagles are good. I won't deny that. Doesn't mean
it might not matter at all. Odds are whoever it lands on, we're going to be like, hell yeah, awesome. It's the Cardinals or the Chargers or whatever. We're all in. But just in case, I think we should each have the right to a veto. And then if that hits, pull them out. And then we spin again.
Okay.
Like it?
All right, that's fair. We'll allow one veto in it.
Literally on the fly.
Yeah.
You could veto my veto idea. That's totally fine. But
I'm all right with it. Let's keep the veto on there, and who knows? There might be some other things that we could jump into. We got a baseball season coming up too as well. So I don't know. Maybe do live feed for the Rangers and Red Sox and things like that, or get Patrick on for Patrick and Stefan on for the Rangers Astros or Red Sox Astros. But we'll play around with that kind of stuff. We'll work on our title, but hey, I just want to say thank you to the UFL community out there. I know we're just jumping in. We were brand new to this. We had a lot to work on, and we're getting a little better throughout the year. But big thank you to the people that are out there that help support the league. I don't know necessarily the channel, but they help the league. You got the Michigan Panthers, think of it with Panther Shadow, Tisdale from the DC Defenders, Ace from the Roughnecks, UFL Media even like some of our content. So just want to give a big thank you to you guys. You are very inviting, and it's an awesome community to be a part of. Just a very nice community that's tight-knit. Do we complain a lot? Yeah, but we have fun during the whole year,
We complain because we want to see it get better. We can see how it can grow, and we want it to grow. And I'm excited for next year's UFL and us focusing on that again. But I'm also excited that we've still got some fun football to talk about. And we're going to keep the Homer Hour theme, focus on our teams, and I think bring a fun aspect to that with, of course, a little splash of other things here and there, as always.
For sure. Yeah. We loved having you guys on this season, and we will see you here in the near future. We will get all the kinks worked out, but we'll definitely be posting on our social media feed to let you know when we're going to get back up and running.
For sure, yeah. Hopefully, if we don't have a pod next week, it's going to be probably 2 weeks at the most before the next pod's out. There's a lot of things to talk about. We're excited.
Yeah. See you guys, and have a good one. Oh, Rob, where do they follow us?
Yeah, keep following us. Hopefully, if you're watching this, it's on YouTube already, but follow us on the UFL Homer Hour on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, the Nick and Rob Homer Hour on Instagram. Just put UFL Homer Hour, Nick and Rob Homer Hour, throw it in your browser, it'll pop up. And if you're watching this, please hit like, please subscribe. We got more fun content coming.
Yes, appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you in the near future.
All right.
Not over yet.